Okay, looks like we're live. Just give it a minute to kick in. OBS is doing its thing. Switch over. I think we're live. Do we have one person in? Looks like we got someone in here. If you can hear me, can you stick a comment in there or? Yep, got a thumbs up. 10 people in. Okay, how's it going, folks? Let's get this started. So I'm hoping this is working. I'm still not really good at this. How do I get the chats up? Top chat. Here we go. We should be able to see comments if people put comments in now. CC, hello from Moycullen. How's it going, CC? I think you were on the last stream as well, if I remember right. So let's get started. How's it going, folks? My name's Marcus. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here on this channel, I like to talk about technology, EDC, and anything that can help me live a happier, balanced, more productive life. I can't change the camera angle. I've got my nice SLR over here, but for some reason, I'm just failing at technology right now. So we're going to do it like this. I was trying to be smart about it and do it with OBS and have lots of controls, but everything kept crashing. So we're just going to go with it. Arindam Roy, been on your channel for a couple of months. Really enjoy your content. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've really building a community here. This channel has grown quick, and there's some very familiar faces and people who comment on these videos all the time. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's all great. So what I wanted to do today was, I can't believe it, hit 50,000 subscriber milestone on Friday morning, woke up to that. And, you know, this, yeah, it's just been a lot of fun creating this channel and talking about like nerding out on the things that I really like to talk about. So I wanted to do a 50,000 subscriber Q&A session just to see kind of what are people interested in. Also in terms of what about the content do you like the most? Some of the videos I really like making, I make a lot of EDC videos, but some of the videos I really like making are around productivity and journaling and, you know, just general note taking and just kind of making them the best of your life. Those videos tend not to do as well on the channel in terms of views, but it does seem to be the things that people ask the most questions about. So trying to figure out what's interesting for kind of the core audience, the people who jump on a live stream, they're the type of people who I want to make this content for anyway. So really interested in what works for you, what are the things you like and what are the things you don't like. So let's get going. Powell, hey Marcus, great to listen to your Q&A. Can you tell me about your gear for YouTube videos? I'd be happy to. So it's built over time. So I've got a lot of equipment for YouTube videos, but in term, I'm assuming you mean like camera equipment and audio, etc. So I've got 3 different cameras I use. I'm on the Sony system. So I've got an FX3, a big camera. I might be able to show you some of my setup just by turning things over. So yeah, maybe a little bit. Just here, this here over here, you can see this is my Sony FX3 with my microphone. That's always set up facing me. Directly above there, I've got a camera that points down on the table in front of me so that you can see what's on my desk. And then over at the side, I have another camera as well. So I've got a 3-camera view, and I have them set up always because the key thing for me is time is of the essence. So if I do get a chance to shoot a video, I want to be able to create a video in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then get it over to my video editor. So it's all about having everything set up all the time, ready to go. So if I just on a whim want to create a quick video, I can. I've got lots of stuff like lights. You probably saw when I turned around, I've got a top light, an Amaran, and I've got there's lots of stuff with lighting. It's a whole rabbit hole in terms of what you go down. But I've got 3 lights as well, which is, you know, I've got a hairline light, something that's lighting up here so that you see a little bit of depth of field. I've got my main light here, and I've got a top-down light as well, so that the videos look nice and crisp. And this microphone, this is a Shure SM7B. I have a podcast I do with a mate of mine as well on a Wednesday night called Marcus and Rami Figuring Things Out. We've been doing that for a couple of years. for the Irish people on this call. I think we're in the top 10 tech podcasts in Ireland. For some reason, we've got a large Irish audience. But anyway, yeah, we have that. You can find us on all the streaming platforms. We just talk about tech. He's an Aussie. I'm an Irish lad. Both of us living here in California, and we talk about tech and being dads and just generally what it's like to live in America when you're not an American. So if you're interested in that, jump over onto that channel and subscribe. Yeah, we're pretty consistent there. Chapel, thanks for the great content. Inspired me to make the jump into content creation. I love hearing that. What's the kind of content that you're creating? I'm actually trying to get a bunch of my friends to start doing this just because it's the best way. It's such a, maybe this is like a classic, like 40-year-old dad POV, but it's a really good way to meet people who share the same quirks as you. You know, just by creating content that you feel passionate about, you'll inevitably, the algorithm will find the people who like the same kind of stuff as you. And, you know, it's been a really good way. I really appreciate the comments, the connections I've made, the community, the friends I've made with this YouTube channel are really important to me. So one, there's that. You'll end up meeting people who are like you and like the same types of things. The other thing is that it is a revenue generator, which is not something I was expecting. But if you want a side hustle, or that you want some additional revenue, AdSense is a thing. Putting YouTube videos up is a thing, and it's a good side hustle for people. So delighted to hear it's inspired you to do it, Chapel. Stick with it. It's all about consistency. Put one video up every week. Do it for 52 weeks, and good things will happen. Everybody says that, but that's it. FIFA says hello. Surely that's not the FIFA, but good to see you, FIFA. Dan Anderson, Marcus, I love your videos so much. I bought so much stuff from things in your videos. I'm sorry about that. I really am passionate about the things that I love, and I know that's contagious. I would say I'm not a shill. I'm not trying to sell you things. Make sure you only buy things you feel like you really need. But I'm definitely someone who feels really passionate about these things, all the things I show on this channel. I only show things that I've either bought myself or really love. So if you are buying those things, I can at least stand over that they're quality. Powell, I recall from your videos you used to run Canon. Why have you moved over to Sony? Good memory. So I did run Canon. Actually, I do still have a Canon SLR that I use for my regular day-to-day Zoom calls for work. Why did I switch over? I just felt like Sony were innovating more. This is really, I mean, this is as dangerous as iPhone and Android. People get really upset about this. So first of all, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a super camera nerd. There are way better channels like Gerald Undone that go into detail on why you might buy one camera over the other. But when I was getting a bit more serious about high quality production, the best camera that I could see on the market at that time for video creation was something called a Sony A7S Mark III. And I bought one of those and I really liked it. I like the color gamut that comes out of it without doing any correction. It doesn't overheat. At that time, the Canon 5C was, or the R5, the Canon R5 had some overheating problems, things like that. That Canon have fixed. Ultimately, they brought out a new one. But Sony was the best at the time. I was throwing money into this thing, so I just bought 3 Sonys and switched from Canon. So did mean I had to buy more lenses, all that stuff. Try and stick in the one ecosystem if you can. But I really like Sony and I stand over it. Are you going to make a video about your wardrobe? People, I don't know if I'm cool enough to make a video about my wardrobe's very boring. I just wear typically kind of classic stuff, like just blue jeans, boots. I do love I've got these. I definitely recommend these if you're looking for a pair of boots. These are they're called Red Wings. They're American boots. I just wear them all the time. I wear just ordinary t-shirts, just classic black or gray. I wear a lot of like sweaters, just wool sweaters. Everything I have is unbranded. I think that's one of my rules, is like I don't want anything to have like a label across it or something. Maybe I will at some stage. I don't feel cool enough yet to do that, but maybe I will. Hey, Serge, good to see you. Are you going to make a video about your wardrobe? David Roberts, please don't be like John Gadget. Flashlights and bags, yawn. John Gadget is a hero. I'll just put it out there that I hear you, that I really like his channel. So first of all, I know John Gadget. I know John Gadget we both ended up doing a how to do a YouTube course together years ago. When I was first interested in this, Ali Abdal, who's a big YouTuber, ran a course called Part-Time YouTuber Academy. And I was in cohort 4, and so was John. At that time, John had like less than 10,000 subscribers. And at that time, I was making a YouTube channel on motorcycles, because another hobby of mine is taking motorcycles apart and then putting them back together again, vintage motorcycles. And I had that channel called, it's still on there, Montmoto. It wasn't very successful, but it was just a hobby. And John was really humble, really great, a very nice guy. I'm on Discord channels with him. He's a very, very nice, genuine person. And I think the content he creates is fantastic. I hear you. You don't have to watch every video, but like, he does create great content, and you know, I'm a big fan. Emmett, hey Marcus, long time watcher, first time texter. Congratulations on the confirmed growth. Yeah, I'm really happy, Emmett. Yeah, I appreciate it. How was my St. Patrick's Day, from Josh? It was quiet. When I first moved to America here, I thought it was crazy. I've been here for 9 years this summer. And I moved here for this job that I currently do. My wife's American. I've got 2 American kids now. But when I first moved here, I just thought it was crazy that people, just how big on St. Patrick's Day people go, and just way bigger than we go in Ireland. Honestly, in Ireland, St. Patrick's Day is for the Americans who come and visit. People tend not to go into the parade. Like when my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, came over, she really wanted to go into the St. Patrick's Day parade, and I hadn't been in since I was a kid. But now that I'm here, after like 2 or 3 years here, I've just fully leaned into it. I've got a big, giant 6 foot by 4 foot Ireland flag flying outside my house 24/7, like a 365. Leprechauns come and visit our garden now. My kids, they distribute gold in the garden, and they have to go find all the coins, and then they get chocolate that night. I do all that stuff now, so I'm really leaning into it. I love all the parades, and there's something, Halloween is bigger here, St. Patrick's Day is bigger here. I love all that stuff, and I'm really leaning into it. So my St. Patrick's Day was family oriented, hung out with the kids, had a lot of fun trying to find the leprechauns in the garden and all that sort of stuff. Oh, Richard Milan, how's it going? Someone watching from Limerick says, hey, watching from Limerick. I'm from Limerick on the southwest of Ireland, and on these streams I tend to get some folks who are there. I love when people spot on the videos. I stick in these little Easter eggs of little scenes from when I'm in Limerick. I'm in California most of the time. I did actually just buy a house in Limerick over the Christmas break, or it's nearly finalized. So I'll be spending a little bit more time in Limerick. I'll certainly be going for maybe a month this summer. I'll hopefully spend 30 days a year there. That's the goal. But I'm a big fan of Limerick. For those of you who are thinking of going to Ireland who've never been before, definitely go to Limerick. Limerick is a beautiful city. It's full of history. There's a beautiful river. There's King John's Castle. It's just the old walls of Limerick. If you want to see thousands of years of history that is still there and is amazing, it's not something that you'll get. It's off the beaten track. So people will tell you to go to Killarney, go down to Kerry, go to Dingle, go down. But if use Limerick as a stopping point on the way, and you won't be disappointed. Absolutely incredible city with cathedrals and castles and all of those that you can visit. So shout out for Limerick. Dan Anderson, very contagious. The Plod has changed my life in business meetings. Plod is really cool. So for those folks who don't know, I'll just grab it. So the Plod AI, this is a very small little recorder that you stick on the back of your phone, or you can just carry it in your hand. It's credit card sized. This was a Kickstarter recently, and they sent me an early copy of it. What it does, it records your conversations. So people get freaked out. They're like, why are you recording conversations? You can record conversations using anything. Your phone has a recorder on it. But this, if you want, you can turn it on when you're on a phone call, or if you're in person in a meeting, you can turn on record a conversation, and it uses ChatGPT AI to understand the different speakers. It will first of all transcribe the full meeting if you just want to read it verbatim, but that's kind of less interesting. It will summarize the meeting and pull out action items for you as well. So if you meet someone for 20 minutes and you talk about things, it will give you a little summary of that meeting afterwards that you can forward, pull out the action items. And it's really great. It's getting better all the time. So it basically records you, transcribes it, puts it through ChatGPT, and then gives you highlights of the meeting. So it's not super expensive either. But yeah, Applaud AI, really cool. I'm glad you like it. Do you ride motorcycles? Yeah, if so, what do you ride? I do ride motorcycles. I've got a bunch of bikes. I've got my main bike that I have right now is a BMW. It's a R1250 GS Adventure. So it's a big for folks who don't know, if you're Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman, remember they did those around the world series, Long Way Round and Long Way Down, and all those. They were all done on the BMW R series, the GS series motorcycles, the off-roads. So I've got one of those. It's massive. I am thinking of selling it. I've had it for a few years. I've had it since 2019. I've also got a Vespa, a 300cc Vespa, which I really love. And then I have this third motorcycle, which is in like 1,000 pieces right now. It's a 1979 BMW Airhead. So I like the old bikes because they're much easier to maintain or take apart and put back together again. I'm hoping to put that'll be a fully custom bike when it's finished. And I'm hoping to have that done in the next 2 years. I don't get a lot of time to work on it. So 2 years. Great. What else have we got? Reese King, would you recommend waiting to buy iPad mini until new model is released? Do you expect price to decrease on 6 when this happens? Yes, I would say hold on buying an iPad mini right now. I have a mate, Patrick Rambles, who does a lot of iPad content. He knows more than I do. His advice recently was to buy the iPad 6 if you're thinking of getting one. Don't bother waiting for the new one. I'm going to wait. I don't think they're going to put the M chip, the Apple Silicon chip in it. I would really wish they did. I wish they did an iPad mini Pro. I would 100% buy that. But I don't think you can, the bottom line is I don't think you can go wrong. They will be releasing a new iPad mini soon. I just wait for it, given it's going to be the same price as the current iPad mini 6 is now. It'll probably be the same price. But either way, you can't really go wrong. They're great iPads. So jump in whenever you're ready. Reinventing Rennie. Yay, 50K. Woo! I felt like that. It just kind of crept up on me as well. So when I looked at it on Friday, I was like, oh, that's amazing. It's just, I don't know why I'm getting so much. I wish I wasn't the type of person who cared about that. I really thought I wasn't. But when I saw it happen, I don't know, it was a good feeling. So I really appreciate it. Okay. How do you view the necessity to resonate with the goals? Also, how you perceive value of journaling. Okay, let me try and figure out what that means. How you view the necessity to resonate with the goals. Is that about motivation? So I'm a big believer that motivation only gets you so far. So motivation is a good way to start goals. Good motivation is a way for you to align on changing your life, kind of picking out the key things you want to work on. Motivation will get you there. Motivation will get you the first 2 weeks into it in a system. It's not long enough to set habits. So when I'm motivated to do something, I use that motivation to create systems. So if I'm excited about the end point, which is, it might be being leaner, because that's a big push I'm on right now, is trying to be fitter and healthier. My motivation, I know that motivation will disappear over a period of time. So I use that window of time to actually create a system and say, here's the system I'm going to have. It might be that I'm going to, habit stacking. I don't know if you read the books. There's lots of books on this, but if it's going to be that I'm going to change my habits by doing habit stacking, or I'm going to do something before I do something else, I'll set those systems in place so as that when my motivation fades, my systems, I'll fall back on my systems. Because it's really hard if your goal is something that's long-term, it's going to take you 3 months or 12 months to achieve. If it's like financial planning and 3 months isn't really a whole lot of time, it can become really demotivating in the short term. Like if you go to the gym one day, when you come home, there's going to be zero difference. In fact, if you go to the gym for a month, 3 days a week for 1 month, you might feel better, but there's actually going to be near zero physical difference. And that's when your systems kick in. You're like, I was motivated enough to create the right systems. And then now I'm just going to rely on those systems and trust that if I just keep doing the things I said I would do, good things will happen. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. I'm a big fan of systems. I don't trust motivation. Okay. Congratulations on the health journey. Very motivating, and I enjoyed the health tracker review. Do you still wear your Apple Ultra watch? I've actually stopped wearing it. I've got it in front of me here. I'm not sure what to do with it right now, if I'm honest with you. It's an expensive decoration. I do go through phases of wearing analog. I'm wearing my Rolex almost all the time right now. The difference being, I've been wearing this, Whoop. This is the Whoop 4.0, and I've got the Ultra Human Air. And between those two, they're both better. Combined, they're definitely better. They're definitely better than the Apple Watch combined. I don't know is the short answer. The Apple Watch Ultra is too big. Sometimes I wore 2 watches when the Apple Watches were smaller. The Ultra is too big to wear 2 watches. And I'm really liking the minimalism of not having the Apple Watch on my wrist and the distraction of the notifications right now. So, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. At least for the next 3 months, I'm not going to be wearing the Apple Watch. Congratulations, 50. Love the Ultra Human Air. Do you have one, Nicolo? I don't know many people who have the Ultra Human Air. Mine's got super gnarly now. It's all, you can see, at least I got proof that I am lifting, because it's like, I like it, but it's like it's wearing away it's all patinaed here. So I'm really liking this device. I think it's great. It's really good for sleep tracking. That's the thing that I've really noticed is the most accurate for me. In terms of doing workouts, though, for fitness tracking and things, the Whoop is just far better. Congrats on 50K. Congrats on 50K. Any podcast recommendations? I recommend my podcast. I have a podcast, I just said earlier in the call, Figuring Things Out. So look up Marcus and Rami, Figuring Things Out. That's a great podcast. I like listening to all the mainstream podcasts. So I do like Andrew Huberman, anything on health and fitness. Ali Abdal, who I'm a fan of as a YouTuber. He's got a great podcast series called Deep Dive, I think. There's a bunch of them. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, I would say. I listen to more audiobooks than podcasts. But yeah, if anyone has podcast recommendations, stick them in the chat here. I love that you're from the Bay, born and raised in Richmond. Richmond's a stone's throw from me. So I live in Berkeley here, and Richmond is 12 miles. I mean, it's, yeah, super, super nearby. So good to see you. What's my EDC wallet of choice? From Jay. It changes. My number one wallet of choice is one that I made myself. So I made a wallet in 2016 using a laser cutter, and I've had that in my front pocket for the longest time. My criteria for wallets is that it must be in my front pocket. It has to take 6 or 8 cards, and I have to be able to stick some band-aids for the kids and some cash in there. At the moment, the one I've been using since December is this one. It's called the Speakeasy Leather Company. Speakeasy Leather, this guy Rob makes all of these by hand, and it's called a Dillinger. So very small, very classy, super customizable. So you can decide what logo you want to have on the front, what stitching you want. The leather's so smooth on it, like it's just so soft, this leather. I don't want to open it because this is my actual wallet right now. I have created videos on it, so you can check it if you want. But love this wallet, and it's not super expensive, and he's a nice guy. So reach out on Instagram if you do get one. People always think that YouTubers make a bunch of money. I don't make any money on this. This is just a small business, a guy that I happen to meet on Instagram. But if you do buy one off him, ping him and let him know that you know it was Marcus that sent you his way, just because he sent me this for free to try it out because he was confident I'd like it. I'd like him to know that, you know, it was worthwhile. That's all. Great. Thanks, Nimish. Appreciate it. Nimish says, I really like your videos. Hey, Marcus, only just seen that you've started this live chat. So sorry, it has been asked already. What gear do you use to record and edit? To record and edit, I record in camera. So there's a couple of options. You can record to a computer, you can record local. I record in camera. So I've always got these bunch of memory cards for different videos that I'm shooting. I use 3 memory cards per video. If they're on this side, it means videos that are in production. And if it's on this side, it means blank cards. So this means I've got 3 videos right now that you haven't seen yet that are recorded that I've sent to my video editor. So I do that. Yeah, record there. I've got a desktop computer here where for my podcasting, I record. This setup is basically an SLR here. Right now, I'm just using a studio display. This is just the camera that comes from Apple with connected through a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 or whatever they call them. Yeah, I'm happy to do a video on that. My least viewed video on my channel is my audio setup. I did that like 2 years ago, and it's got like less than 1,000 views or something. So, yeah, if you're interested in it, you're in the minority here. Great. Great. So I actually don't. Nicolo, I actually don't, but I'm looking forward to getting one. Great. I recommend the audiobook Outlive. Oh, yeah, that's the best book I read this year. In fact, I've got several copies of it in this house here because it was the book that I most bought for people. So I've got a couple of mates. I bought, I think I've given away 5 copies of that book. So folks who don't know, Outlive is a book. It's called Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity. It's by Dr. Peter Attia is the author's name. He's a Andrew Huberman type person. I think the background on him was he was a trauma room medical doctor, MD, and he did that for like 8 years. Then he went to McKinsey or one of the main big consultants and was a data analyst for several years. And he's come back to medicine afterwards. He's in his 40s, and he's written this book about fundamentally, instead of just like lifespan, health span. So he talks about not only living to the age of 80, but living, skiing at 75, and the things you need to do in your life, in your 40s and your 50s, to help you get there. That was actually the book that inspired my health kickoff last year in June. I read that book. It's the first time, it's a chunky book. It's the first time I've read a book. And then as I finished the last page, I immediately turned back to page 1 again and started reading it again. I found it really inspiring in terms of, it just tells you what you need to do in terms of how to avoid the 4 main things that can make your life difficult later. And I think it's like avoiding cancer, avoiding diabetes, avoiding neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, and then mental health, basically how to stay on top of your mental health. And he gives you things to do. It's just basically lift heavy things 3 days a week, do zone 2 cardio 3 days a week. It's not very hard. And I like that it's just very actionable. So I think that, who said that? Yeah, Yankee fan. I agree with you. The audiobook Outlive, it was one of the best books. I mean, I think it was definitely the best book I read last year. It's one of the best books I've ever read. I had Nora for a couple of years, but I'd like to switch now. The Aura is a little bit chunkier. I like a small ring. So the thickness between fingers matters to me. Like, I don't like the Aura ring when I've tried it on, has just made it's just too chunky for me. This is the smallest smart ring, I think, on the market. So until Apple brings one out, I think they're rumored to be bringing one out this year. So yeah. Richie, fellow Irishman living in the States. Nice. Been inspired by your goal setting stuff and excited for all the future videos. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Those videos don't do well on this channel, but I'm going to continue to make them because they are the types of videos I like to make as well. So appreciate it. Would love to see a video on what camera you use, lighting, etc., software and audio. Yeah, maybe I'll make that. I do have a good video on it's called the Ultimate Productivity Desk Setup, where I talk about it a little bit. So just to scratch the itch, have a look at that. But if it's something that you want more of, absolutely. Hello from Dublin. How's it going? Good to see you, Vamsy. Orbital. Hey, Marcus O'Brien. Hey, Mr. O'Brien. I was using the last Uniball in my drawer and thought of your channel. The book, The Source. I've never heard of the book, The Source by Dr. Swart. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Dragon Rain, do you meditate? Great question. So I wish I could. I'm one of those people who I love the idea of meditation. I love the idea of mindfulness. I've got a mind that races, and I would find it really hard to sit still. And I would love to be more zen and more calm, to the point where I set myself, fitness and finance are my 2 goals for this year. About 2 years ago, I set myself the goal of meditating every day. And I used Headspace. It's a great meditation app about mindful meditation. And they have things on anxiety and things on lots of different things to help you. And I did it for 9 months, every morning, either 10 or 15 or 20-minute meditations. And sometimes some weeks I felt like I was getting somewhere, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'm starting to be good at meditating. And other weeks I just felt like I'm doing it wrong. My mind is racing. I'm not really getting anything. And I stuck with it. And after that 9 months, I really didn't feel the benefit of it. And I know it works for some people, but I just have one of those minds where it just races and I can't do it. So what I do, the 2 things that really work for me, and I've talked about it before, are 1, I use morning pages. It's the Artist's Way morning pages, where I come down every morning. I'll just be careful. I don't want you to actually be able to read any of this because it's, it's craziness. But I take one of these Tomoe River notebooks, which I love writing in. I'll take a nice fancy pen. I'll sit down and I'll write 3 pages of stream of consciousness. And that for me is mindfulness, because it helps take all of those thoughts, all the things racing around my mind from the night before, from my sleep, and just put them out there on paper. So that's the first thing I do, and it helps me. The second thing I do is a little bit more nuts, but I do cold plunges in the morning. I've set up an ice bath. It's actually I've got a big cattle trough in the back garden here, and I've set up a 1/2 horsepower chiller on it that's intended for an aquarium with a pump. And I cool the water down in the morning times. Not every single morning, but most mornings. I get up first thing when I'm still warm, just out of bed. I get out, go into the back garden, jump into that for 3 minutes, and I get this surge of well-being. It gives, I want to be clear, I hate doing it. I know it sounds like I really like it when I talk about it, but every morning I make an excuse for myself as to why I shouldn't get into this thing. When I get my legs in and it's freezing cold, I think, oh, maybe I've got this niggling injury. Maybe I shouldn't get in, or you don't have to do it every day. You did it yesterday. Let's not do it today. And then I just you have to overcome that. But like doing the hardest thing first thing in the morning is good for so many reasons. So I just force myself into it. I hate it for 3 minutes, and then I get out and I get this surge of endorphins. I feel really good about the day. I've had that cortisol spike already, and it helps. Like I truly believe there's like 3 or 4 benefits of it. I think the first one is, the reason I do it most is actually, oh, thumbs up, didn't intend to do that. That's my Mac. The first reason I do it is mental health. It just overcoming that inner voice, like, everybody has these thoughts that you can't control. And you as a human, the thing that makes you is which are the thoughts that you decide to hang on to, because everyone has crazy thoughts. And I think overcoming that inner voice first thing every morning, that's what mindfulness means to me, is being in charge of my own, what I decide to listen to. But the second thing is, because I'm doing all these weights and I'm lifting and I'm older, and so like getting into the water, it's got an anti-inflammatory effect. So it helps my body. The third one, though, in terms of fat loss and weight loss, is it converts white fat cells to brown fat cells, which you store here up in your shoulder blades and you're up by your neck. So brown fat cells burn energy faster than white fat cells. So it actually helps you in terms of you lose weight quicker. And yeah, overall, I just think it's something that I only started doing last year as well. Again, after reading this book, Outlive by Peter Attia, and listening to Huberman, there was something to it. I tried it I just did it really cheap to start. I bought it at $90 little cold plunge. I was putting ice into it every morning, 30 pounds of ice every morning. And then after I'd done it for a month and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this, I built something more. Their rate, if you were to buy one, they're like $5,000. They're way too expensive. So I was like, I'm a mechanical engineer, and I knew how to do it. So I was like, I'll just build one in my back garden. The long answer is, don't meditate, do morning pages, do cold plunges. And I feel with that combo, I'm able to stay on top of things. But for folks who can meditate, I'm so envious, because it's so much easier. Okay. Have you talked about your career and your workflows as a product person? I'm always interested in improving my process and knowledge, such as doing code boot camps to become more technical. Yeah, Derek, I haven't talked about, like, I see this YouTube channel this is like a personal hobby of mine. I've got a pretty serious day job and a serious career, and I've been working. So for folks who don't know, I work in the software development industry. I'm a VP of product in a large tech company. I'm not going to mention them by name on this podcast. I've been working there for almost 9 years, and I love it. It is a true passion of mine, and the industry that I serve is interesting to me. I've worked in that industry it serves the architecture and engineering construction industry. I've been an engineer, mechanical engineer undergrad, worked in engineering design for 12 years, and then switched over to software. So, it's a passion for me. I like product design. I like making things. I like doing things with my hands. And the day job that I have is the thinking side of that. It's like how I create products that customers use to make things. So I really like that. I really like being a product manager. I was a product manager of the last 9 years. I was a PM for. My title is technically, I'm still product management and product development, but I run a team of product managers now. I have a head of product, and they're responsible for the product roadmaps now. But yeah, I really like product management as a career trajectory, as something to do in a career. I think it's really great for generalists. So people who are great at communication, great at understanding complex problems and breaking them down into smaller problems. You get exposed to lots of parts of the business, so you can talk to software developers, legal, marketing. It's where everything comes together in terms of customer, what we should build, how much it should cost, can we do this thing, why us, why now, all of those questions. There's lots of frameworks, and I use them all the time, but it's not something I want to bring into this podcast, because this isn't a product podcast. It's about the products I love rather than the actual day job that I do. Maybe I'll do it at some stage in the future. What's your current EDC backpack, Marcus? Vamsi, I love that you think I would have one. At the moment, it's down here. The one that I'm using for work at the moment is this Bellroy. Let me just grab it. I really like this one lately. I've been doing a lot of, I was in Boston 2 weeks ago with work and stuff. So I've been doing a lot of single bag carry. And this one is fantastic for bringing a laptop. I love it because I'll do a review on this actually ultimately, but it's got room to stick a water bottle in. I've got a space for a laptop. If I need to bring a laptop on my trip, there's enough room to have a laptop, but also my room to put my clothes in and things like that in here. It's just a really solid one. It's called the Bellroy Tokyo something. I'll do a full video on it. I'm a big fan of Bellroy, and that's the one I've been using. But I've got lots. I'm a believer in like the right bag for the right situation. So I use a lot of slings. It's always smaller is better. And I think, I've got a lot of Tom Bin. If people know the brand Tom Bin, it's a kind of a small niche brand here in the US. They make them up in Seattle. But yeah, I like Tom Bin bags. I like Bellroy. I like I like a bunch of brands. So I have a lot. But I pick bags. I should probably do it, but I've got probably 20 different bags in Nextdoor, and I pick the bag for the situation. So that's what I do. Could you demonstrate how you built your desk at some point? Yeah, I'm not sure how. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's not very. I guess it's if you know how to do it, it's not hard. It was just basically sheets of plywood with 2x4s. I'm sure. I just built a desk 2 weeks ago for my daughter upstairs for our computer. So, yeah, I'm sure I could do that at some stage if people are really interested in it. It's not super hard, but it is great. It's a game changer. How you set up your desk and where you set it up in the room changes how you operate. So I think, building your own desk, it's certainly cheaper than buying a desk, and it can change your room. Okay, I'm going to do 5 more minutes because I got to go. Could you demonstrate how you built your desk? Me too. Really can't meditate. Yeah, meditating's hard. I know lots of people who can't do it. If you can do it, it's great. Journaling is a good way to meditate if you can't just sit there and meditate. What do you do for work outside of YouTube? I lead a development team at a large software company. Do your colleagues know about this channel? It's starting there. I mean, they do. They're starting to. I don't talk about it at work, but I've had a bunch of people mention it to me. It's becoming big enough that it's starting to appear in people's streams. And, I think the first person who noticed it was like a year ago, and then it was very quiet for a while. And then ever since the week of Christmas, when this channel kind of got much bigger, a lot more people have noticed it. Is that a window or a TV in the background? That is a TV in the background. I just put that on there for you folks so that it looked nicer. Do you think there's a lot of distractions like Instagram, TikTok that may disturb the goal system, and how to cut that out? Absolutely. The more you use the phone, the less productive you can be. I really think this is a long conversation, and I've only got a couple of minutes, but when I think of my life and my energy and how I spend, I think of it in terms of time. So wherever you spend your time, that's how you have to make sure it's a choice that you're spending your time. And a lot of these things are distractions in terms of, are you spending your life on the things that really matter to you? And it's really easy to get caught up on things that are not the most important thing to you. Like if you were to create a list of things that are important on there somewhere, I don't know why it's doing thumbs up. One of the things would probably be family or friends. One of the things might be around finance. One of the things might be around career goals. One of the things might be around, health and fitness, whatever. But nowhere on the list would you have, and I want to spend 2 hours a day looking at my phone, looking at people doing stuff on TikTok. So what I do think is I think there's a balance. So I do think you need downtime, and I do think you need to waste time. I do think there's a period of time where you just need to go, I'm going to use this time to relax and to rest and to turn my mind off. And if you want to use Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for things like that, I do. I certainly watch a bunch of YouTube in the evenings but I'm like, this is the time I'm going to do that, because it's my downtime. But I'm very conscious of how I spend my time. So one of the things that comes up a lot is, how do you manage to do a bunch of hobbies, like work a lot of hours, but spend time with your family and do these hobbies? Is because I'm always aware of how I spend my time. If I'm struggling to spend my time in a way that I want to, like if I want to shoot a video, like I don't feel like shooting videos for this YouTube channel when I get 30 minutes off sometimes. I just want to lie on the couch and watch TikTok. But what I do is I got this little timer, and I'll set it for 15 minutes. I'll set it for 5 minutes usually. So if it's a task that I want to spend my time on, but I don't feel like it, I'll just start this timer. And the deal is, the rule I've set for myself is, once I start the timer, I have to do the task for 5 minutes. When I get to the 5 minute mark, I can stop doing it. I can genuinely stop if I want to. And sometimes I do stop. But mostly by the time I've done 5 minutes, I have enough traction to actually continue to spend the time on that thing and get the thing done. So that's the longer answer. TikTok and Instagram and YouTube have a place. As long as they're not taking more of your time than you want them to, then it's not a problem. If they are, and they were for me, then I had to put systems and processes in place to stop that. What pen do you usually use? Is it still your Mont Blanc? I don't usually use the Mont Blanc. Right now I'm using, this is the one I'm carrying with me. It's a Coeco Lilliput. I actually discovered this because someone on this channel put it in the comments. I love it. It's fantastic. The desk pen I use every day is one of these Refine EP1s, is the Refine Mini EP1 in copper. I'm going through a big copper phase right now. But in the morning when I do my morning pages, I'll either use this or I will use the Mont Blanc, depending on if I'm feeling fancy or not. But I like to mix it up. I like a bunch of different pens, and you know, it's one of those things, the joys of life. But I do like my go-to, you know, my staple pens has been and always will be this. I use these Uniballs. I've got probably 20 of them in my desk drawer there. These are just like, they can't go wrong. $2, and they're fantastic little writers. Looks good. Cheers for the stream, Marcus. Hi, Marcus. What alpaca bags have you got? I've got a couple of them. I'll go through them in another video. Congrats on your 50K subs. Thanks for the live stream. Really appreciate it. Do you feel guilty if you miss your systems, e.g. journaling? I don't feel guilty if I miss my systems, but I feel it mentally. So there are periods of time, like if I'm sick or, you know, if I feel too stressed to do it, I'll pay for it. So I've learned over time that sticking to the system is better than not sticking to the system. So I'll actually feel worse for not doing it. So that helps. What's the timer? Oh, it's some cheap timer that I got on Amazon. Let's see. It's called Liorque. Liorque. It was like $10 or $15 on Amazon. It's great because you just get, it's just a wheel. You twist the wheel to whatever time you want and then hit go and it starts going. It's a great little timer. Great. I'm gonna leave it there. I really appreciate everyone jumping on this stream. This has been a lot of fun. I'll publish this video and I'll stick some links in the description for some of the stuff we talked about if people are interested in it. Click them if you need the things. Don't do it for my sake. Don't do it if you're not interested. It's been a lot of fun, folks, and maybe I'll start doing these in future for members of the channel. Maybe I'll do a monthly stream. I'm really thinking about how I might make these work longer term, but I'm really enjoying it. I appreciate all the positivity and support. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you all again soon. Good luck.